What is going on, everyone? And welcome back to the Back Pocket Podcast. I'm Dylan Shalom, here with my wonderful hosts in Syracuse, New York, and Ann Arbor, Michigan. Charlie Nidell in Syracuse, Serge Kadali in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And we've got a full docket of football to talk about today. And it was a good week. A lot of good football being played. We're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys and how they beat the absolute crap out of the Los Angeles Rams. And a lot more, so stay tuned. Okay, so we've got a big topic to talk about here. The Cowboys, they beat the hell out of the Rams. And I just want to talk to Charlie real quick. Mr. Cowboys hater. Does this change anything for you?
No, it's only the defense. It's only the defense.
So?
Also, first off, I'm a Cowboys hater because I'm a Giants fan, right?
Yeah, but you've also been historically just hating on the Cowboys, not even just Giants wise.
It's true, but also it's the Cowboys. Everybody hates the Cowboys.
Yeah, fair enough, but I don't really even have that big a problem with them though.
Then you should have a bigger problem with them because they're the Cowboys. I don't know. They had a good game, but I don't know. They have these games every year. This doesn't say that much for me.
No, but they've had more of these games this year than they've had in other years now, and it's only week 9. Coming up to week 9. It was week 8 that week, but
they're also
Rams are a good team,
5-2. So
but the Rams are a good team, and they beat them very comfortably.
3-5.
No, but they've played good football up to this point.
They lost to the Steelers last week.
Stafford was hurt.
They lost to, at the time, an 0-2 Bengals, which I know doesn't mean that much. But no, the Rams have been okay this year. For me, this just it doesn't say that much because Dallas has these games, and at the end of the day, they're not going to win anything. So,
the point I made earlier in the season when I was really giving Cowboys a lot of praise is that we've seen it before, but this defense is another level. I don't think it's the same run-of-the-mill Cowboys defense that's top 10. This is top 1, and I don't think it's debatable. Okay, the Jets are top 1.
I wasn't even gonna say the Jets. I was gonna say the Ravens, but also the Jets also are better.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's not. It's too early. It's too early. But talk about the cow. I mean, I was always on the Cowboys fan. I'll say that, but I'm so confused with this team. I don't really understand, but what I will say has been a common theme in past years and still seems kind of similar is that the Cowboys always seem to beat up on the other pretender playoff teams, but then when they themselves face a contender, they sometimes falter, and we saw that against the Niners this year. Do we still trust that they can go kind of toe for toe with the elite teams? I know San Francisco have been on a bad streak, but I still think they're going to eventually figure it out. Do we really trust that Dallas can beat that team? I really think on paper they should, because they've got great players in the trenches. They've got great weapons like CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard. They've got a good secondary. It's a complete team. I was high on the Cowboys going into this year, but I don't know what to expect when they play a contender, because so far in previous years and this year, which I kind of was on the train where I think maybe this team was one of the best Cowboys teams in recent memory, they still got completely dominated by the Niners. So I'm not sure what to think of the Cowboys. I think they're a really good team on paper, but we got to see whether or not it really clicks against those great teams.
Now, I know he's been in the league for a while now, but is this a second emergence game for CeeDee Lamb? Because he's been kind of underground all season, and that was a big game. Do we think that's going to leapfrog anything, or is it just a coincidence?
I don't know. I think CeeDee Lamb's been a good receiver over the course of his career to this point. This was a really big game, but he's had big games in the past. I don't know. They blew him out, so he had a good stat line kind of game. But he was good for 630. He's got 633 yards this year already, and so not even counting this game, he was at around 480, which is still a good number to be at through 7 weeks. And I think that he's been sort of hindered by Dak Prescott being the quarterback, and I think he's been hindered by the fact that he is I ask you to look beyond CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard for a second. The Cowboys offense has nobody. Nobody.
Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks.
I wouldn't talk about Brandon Cooks like that, but the offensive line is okay. If not,
Brandon Cooks is 150 yards this year.
No, Brandon Cooks isn't good. I don't think he's good. But
actually surprised me, not gonna lie. I feel like every year he's quietly at 1,000 yards, so I just expected he'd be on track for that again.
No, I mean their next leading receiver is Jake Ferguson, and that's just like it's when you look beyond CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard, that's not good enough for me. And I think, it's not like they've got Patrick Mahomes throwing them the football. It's Dak Prescott, who, despite being 25 of 31 with 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, still managed to throw an interception. I don't know. The Cowboys team, this doesn't say a lot for me. The Cowboys have had blowout performances like this. They lost to the Niners by 32 points a couple weeks ago. So, for me, whatever.
Yeah, I think this is going to be another, again, I still think this is like one of the best, on paper, one of the best teams in the NFL. And a team that should, again, in theory, rival Philly and San Francisco. I think their line, I think when healthy, it's one of the better lines in the NFL. I think, obviously, Zach Martin, all-pro guard, one of the best in the league. You got other guys like Tyler Smith, Tyler Beatis. It's a good Terrence Steele. I think it's a pretty good offensive line. But obviously, again, haven't really been able to stay healthy, so they've been kind of okay. But I think down the stretch, they should hopefully find a way to get healthy. But I think overall, this is a team that really, again, I just keep on going in circles with this team, but this team is always almost the same, where it's like this should be a team that can contend, but they kind of are. I wouldn't say necessarily. Because
they have the least clutch quarterback in the NFL.
I want to touch on.
I wouldn't say least clutch.
Because
I would say
Dak Prescott had a good amount of big time throws in that game against the Rams. He's been. I mean, I don't think he's elite, but he's been good for this whole season. And the narrative around him is that he's not a good quarterback. At this point, I think that's what the consensus agrees now, is that he's not a good quarterback, and he's carried by. I don't know what they think he's carried by, but if you really look at it situationally, but the offense has always been consistently pretty good. If situationally, Mike McCarthy is now the sole play caller in Dallas, that's not helping him. It's like having a dinosaur calling plays. Tony Pollard is a good receiving threat, but I don't even think he has that many yards over the air this season. CeeDee Lamb is a mid-tier wide receiver 1. I mean, what is there that's making this? Is it just good field position that's helping them? I don't know.
It's a fantastic defense, and that's what my argument's going to be, because
great special teams play also.
Yeah. Dak Prescott, when you look at the numbers, has not been good this year.
No,
Dak Prescott this week was only his second week with over 265 passing yards. His first with over 275.
Benchmark is 265.
His first week over 275.
Okay.
It's also only his second week with more than 1 passing touchdown. It's his, this is not, those numbers don't scream amazing to me. He's got 5 of his 7 games this year have come with 1 or less passing touchdowns. That passing touchdowns statistically has not been good. When you look at the numbers, he hasn't been any, great quarterback this year. When you look at his numbers, you don't scream 5-2 team right here. The defense is putting up more points than Dak Prescott is.
Do you mean that? Well, not literally.
I mean, not in a literal sense, because the defense has only scored, I think, 2 or 3 touchdowns this year. The defense has 5 touchdowns this year, which is really close to Dak.
I think Deron Bland has the same amount of touchdowns as a bunch of good. He has 3 touchdowns this year, so it's he's having a great.
Before this week, since Dak threw 4 touchdowns, Dak only had 6 passing touchdowns, and the Cowboys defense had 4 defensive touchdowns. Dak has not been some good quarterback this year. For me, this is all on the defense. Dak Prescott has not changed my mind at all.
The quarterback is the most important player on a team, and the offense has been. I think I disagree.
He's had a good year. I think
the defense is good, obviously. I mean, the quarterback at the end of the day is the end all be all for the team. And
I think there are 3 games this year wins this year that if you put Cooper Rush in at quarterback, they still win.
Which games?
The Giants.
Yep, I agree.
The Patriots. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why I popped in the bubble. And the Rams last week.
What was the third one? Your mic cut out.
The Rams last week.
No, I agree.
No. Cooper Rush isn't winning that game against the Rams.
I think the defense won them that game. So yeah.
No, the defense got 2 touchdowns. They were pretty. I think Cooper Rush wins that game.
The defense had a touchdown, blocked punt for a safety. And that was to start the game.
And then if that was at
the very
end,
only
had 1 touchdown.
Then maybe Cooper Rush.
The sample size we have of Cooper Rush is in an offense that had significantly better weapons, though.
My point is not that Cooper Rush is winning those games; it's that anyone is winning those games. I think Tommy DeVito is winning those games.
No, not Tommy DeVito.
No,
Tommy DeVito beats the
Giants.
Too far. No, Tommy DeVito beats the Patriots.
No,
absolutely.
Nope, none of them. Tommy DeVito was not allowed to throw the ball, so no.
Dak Prescott didn't throw for a touchdown against the Giants.
No, but you at least have to respect the
50 yards.
You have to respect the aerial threat, though. Like,
you're not going to stack the box against Dak Prescott like we did against Tommy DeVito.
It wasn't.
Anyway, it's a pointless. It's a point.
The Cowboys have beat the Giants before Prescott even stepped on the field.
But it's not even a pointless argument because we need to talk some sense here. Dak Prescott's not a bad quarterback. And
I think with Kirk going down, Dak is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
No, he's not top 10. He's not top 10. But I'd say top 15.
I mean, the
quarterback
play in the league this year has been very underwhelming.
I want to hear who Charlie think. Charlie, who do you think is worse than Dak Prescott? Because I think your list is going to be very fun.
Who's worse than Dak Prescott?
Who's worse? Starters.
Okay. Mahomes is better.
Yep.
Tua's better.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence is better. Lamar Jackson is better. Josh Allen is better. Dak is better than Kenny Pickett.
Okay.
Dak is better than Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
Dak is better than Zach Wilson.
How dare you?
Oh yeah, how dare I? He is worse than Joe Burrow. Right now, if I was picking a quarterback for my team, I'd take CJ Stroud.
Okay.
He's better than Will Levis.
No.
I would say I would take Stroud over Dak right now, just as a player.
No,
I think I would.
Dak's better. CJ's had a good
for CJ Stroud
by rookie year. If Dak was having the year CJ would have, we would be talking about replacing Dak. And CJ's had a good year by rookie standards, but
he's had a good year by any standard. I think he's been.
I think he's been good.
He's had
He's
had a good year because he's been average quarterback. And for a rookie, which is really good because obviously
Stroud has 1,800 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 1 pick.
No, he's had but also his completion percentage hasn't been eye-popping.
Dak has, give me a second, 1,600 yards, 10 touchdowns, 5 picks. Give me CJ Stroud.
It's not as easy to look at it just based on.
But Dak Prescott also has a higher passer rating. His team,
looking at it from straight statistical standpoint, isn't going to do anyone any good, though.
No, I just think for me, passing the eye, I think CJ Stroud, give him CeeDee Lamb. And
CJ definitely
is a better quarterback.
I mean, Charlie, you are forgetting that CJ Stroud has the best receiver in the league, Nico Collins. So let's credit.
That wasn't funny. Let's keep going.
I actually did find
that was actually very funny
because it actually called back on something you said from a few podcasts ago, and that's what made it really, really funny. Yeah, because it's just like a callback.
Okay, so but to be clear, I didn't say he's the best quarterback in the league, the best receiver in the league. So
you said one of.
I said he could be at the end of the year one of the best receivers in the league.
Okay, whatever. But
it was a good joke.
Dak Prescott's better than Will Levis or Ryan Tannehill. I know Tannehill has kind of got benched this week. Herbert is better.
Why are the bubbles on the screen?
The bubbles on the screen is so funny.
Herbert is better than Dak Prescott. I would take any day over Jimmy G. Prescott over Gardner Minshew because come on. I'd probably take him over Russ. I think at this point,
I would
probably take Dak.
I think Russ had a good year, but
definitely over Mac Jones. So in the AFC, compared to all the AFC quarterbacks, I think I have him above 5 of the 16 or 6 of the 16.
We don't have to go through this whole list if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
it's
like I get
better
the
than barely any quarterback in the NFL in my mind. For me, he's a bottom 12, 13 quarterback.
That's wild.
He's hitting top 20.
I'm strongly disagreeing, but I'm moving on because we're not going to be able to say anything that changes your mind on it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the NFC South, which I would say now the Panthers, even though they got their first win, I think they're out of the picture. But the Falcons, the Buccaneers, and the Saints all have equally easy schedules for the rest of the year and have the same record right now, if I'm not mistaken. And
Tampa Bay is a half a game back because of a bye.
Okay. They are all going to be in the running for both a wild card spot and the division title. So I just want to hear your thoughts. Which team takes the division? Do any of these teams make a wild card? And which of these teams have a future with what they're going with right now? Because right now it's the quarterback game, Derek Carr, the quarterback game, Desmond Ridder, and Baker Mayfield. Realistically, this could be all three of them done by the end of the season. But if one of these teams manages to scrap together a 10-11 win season out of it, who knows?
I think Atlanta are winning that division. And I know, Dylan, like you said, you did point out that all three have an easy schedule. I remember we were going over this a few days ago. Their schedule is like exceptionally easy. Like I have to pull it up for a sec. So please stand by. Right, okay, so yeah, bring it up. Like just tell me.
We've got Vikings, Cardinals
without Kirk Cousins,
Saints, Jets, Buccaneers, Panthers, Colts, Bears, Saints.
That is probably
not a single team over 500, except for the Jets who are 4-3.
Mm-hmm. But that is probably, I mean, again, I'm a Jets fan. I think they're doing good for the circumstances. But when the Jets are the hardest team you're facing remaining, it's a very, very easy schedule. I'd say other than them, which even that's arguable, I don't see a single team that's a top half team in the league. I think also they've got a really good team. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. I don't know. Was Ridder benched or was he injured?
Ridder was injured. I
still think they got to roll with Taylor Heineke. I think if they roll with Taylor Heineke, they'll win the division. I think it's going to be kind of a similar situation to what we saw during the COVID year with Washington, where they rode that good defense and
I don't know. I mean,
weapons. I think they're I think on paper they're clearly the best team in the NFC South. New Orleans, I'm not really sold on. I'm not sold on Derek Carr. I'm not really sold on New Orleans in general. Tampa, yeah, I thought it was gonna be a rebuilding year for Tampa. So credit to them. They've definitely performed above expectations, but they've kind of also hit a bit of a wall past few games. I don't really see them. I mean, again, they could win the division, but at the end of the day, I think Atlanta are very clearly the best team on paper. I know Will Levis cooked them, but they still have a pretty good defense. They've got a good offensive line. They've got a few weapons. They got obviously Bijan. They got Algier. They got receivers like Drake London if they decide to use them, Kyle Pitts. So I think Atlanta will win the division. They found ways to win games. I think they're going to continue to find ways to win games, and it won't be pretty, but I think 9 wins this division. I think with that schedule, they'll do it.
I don't know. I mean, I think Tampa Bay is a better team than Atlanta. Even just pure roster composition. Baker Mayfield has been okay this season, and I think that's all they really need out of him. And the defense, it's not amazing, but I think it's similar to Atlanta. And I don't know. There's just something about this team that I feel like it has a little bit left in them from that Super Bowl run. Evans is playing well. Godwin's playing well. They've got a little bit left in them. I think they can win 10, 11 games. I don't think Atlanta can win that many games. Ridder, Heineke, etc. I think they're playing Heineke for the rest of the season. And Arthur Smith refuses to play football the way it should be played. So I don't know.
I don't know what to think of Arthur Smith because he makes all the decisions that just seem so baffling and you don't understand why. Like, obviously the treatment of Pitts and then the decision to continuously roll with Ridder, the decisions to kind of at times freeze out other guys like Bijan, where he didn't play at all because he wasn't feeling well, but he was still active, and also Drake London sometimes just not getting any, at times just not being a part of the offense. It's definitely a weird situation, but the talent, but also credit. They still find ways to win games with probably the Ritter's definitely at least a bottom 3 quarterback, I'd say, right?
I would say
he's
so.
Probably an accurate take.
I'd say I think he's arguably the worst quarterback in the NFL, and he's still found ways to be 4-4. So that's still he can't be that bad of a coach, but at the same time, it's a weird situation. But I just think Atlanta are just too good of a team. At least besides the quarterback, which I know is very important, but they're still too good of a team with too easy of a schedule. I think not to at least win 9 games.
Where do the Saints fall into this?
I'm sorry. I'm just not a fan of the Saints. Like,
they can win games explosively, though.
They can, yes, but they also have. I don't trust Derek Carr. First of all, I don't think he's been.
Why not?
But you trust Taylor Heineke?
Yeah, I honestly do trust Taylor Heineke more than Desmond.
More than Derek Carr. That's preposterous.
Crazy. You've got a veteran NFL quarterback who won games in Vegas, and you're taking Taylor Heineke over.
Yes, I don't think
that's nuts.
I don't think Derek Carr is
good. That's nuts.
Yeah, but Taylor Heineke is a backup quarterback.
No, I want to hear some sort of defense to this because I don't want to hear I would just take Heineke. Why would you take Heineke?
What does Heineke offer you?
Because Heineke offers more mobility than Derek Carr. He's someone that I know he's someone that kind of, when he was playing with the Commanders last year, obviously everyone was someone who was like, get him out, let's play like Sam Howell over him. But he was definitely someone I felt like at times who offered a bit of like at least somewhat stability, like at the quarterback.
Yeah, but Derek Carr is like the definition of stable.
No, because he's had some pretty awful games.
If I asked you to name me a mid quarterback, Derek Carr is one of the first names that pops in your head. That's a stable mid quarterback. Taylor Heineke is a stable backup quarterback.
No, I think they're the same tier. I honestly think they're the same tier. Neither of them have
just
been.
Look at the money they make and you tell you how much the NFL disagrees with you.
But I just want to put
contracts are given to the NFL.
I just want to put out the fact that Derek Carr has over the past been able to win games on his own, but that doesn't talk about right now. And I think there is some validity to the claim that Derek Carr isn't a good quarterback anymore. I disagree. I think he's average, but he can still hit those balls on a thread to a good receiver and lead them into the end zone. I don't think Heineke has the ability to play from behind and win the Falcons a game on his own. I think Carr can do that.
Carr can't. No, I don't think so. I think he could. I think he could during his best years in Vegas. He could, but I don't think not anymore. I don't
know. I mean, I don't think Heineke wins that game against the Colts.
I think he does. I
thought Derek Carr played phenomenally in that game.
No, he played good, but I think Taylor Heineke's capable of a game like that. We've seen him play those games. I mean, against I believe it was Philly last year, right? Philly last year, he had a really good game. Yeah, that
you're bringing up random good games from last season. I could do
but you're putting up a really good game from Derek Carr. I'm saying Taylor Heineke's capable of that too.
Derek Carr's got 10 years of good games. Not every game was good, but he's got multiple.
No, I know, but we're talking about right now in this moment.
But I think right now he's had a couple of good games. Again, I don't see where the fall off really is. I mean, the fall off is from the season before last season to last season. That's where the fall off was. But since he's come to New Orleans, I think he's kind of just been the same as he was in the last season at Vegas, which was a top 20 quarterback, top 16 quarterback. It's not bad.
And Carr has thrown for 300 plus yards each of the last 3 games. Now that Alvin Kamara's back, Alvin Kamara looks great. I think the main problem for New Orleans is the underutilization of Chris Olave. What are they?
I mean, is that even a problem though? Because they're scoring points,
but they're not. I feel like there's no, at least bar Kamara, because Kamara's been consistently 25 catches a game, but there's no consistent receiving threat. Rashid Shaheed will go for a big catch every game. This week he happened to go for 3 big catches every game.
Shaheed. He's so fun.
It's a very fun guy. But I think for me, just I haven't given my prediction at all, even for the NFC South. I'm gonna agree with Surridge, but for some totally different reasons. I think the Falcons will win this division, although I think it'll probably come down to the Week 17 Falcons versus Saints game, if we're being honest. those are both teams that'll have 7 or 8 wins by that point, maybe even 9. And I think it could come down to that. And, maybe the Falcons win that, maybe the Saints win that, but I think the Falcons are the more likely team. But my reasoning, I have been a fan of Desmond Ridder since he was drafted. I think of the 4 of us, I have liked him the most. And I do still think that he is a better option than Taylor Heineke for the Falcons offense, because very, very slowly, but it's happened over the course of the season. I think he's looked just a little bit better every single game. And they've got a really easy schedule coming up. If they want to try and figure something out that's going to last, they've got to try and figure out Desmond Ridder, because they're going to go into next season. And since this is such an easy schedule, if the Saints, Bucks, and Falcons all finish with 8 or more wins this year, they're going to face a tougher schedule next year. And if they're going to face a tougher schedule next year, they're not going to just re-sign Taylor Heineke to be their starting quarterback. If they want to figure something out with this offense, which they've got pieces, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, they need a long-term solution at quarterback. Taylor Heineke's not a long-term solution. Desmond Ridder is. And I think they can figure out that long-term solution in Desmond Ridder while still making a push for the playoffs. That's what I think the best choice is.
I don't know. I think, they've won 4 games. They've won 4 games with him. But I don't think that's a part of the reason I don't think Atlanta's going to do it, is because I don't think they step away from Ridder. But they can't make the playoffs with Desmond Ridder. I think think
they can. At 4-4,
he might be the worst. He might be the worst quarterback in the league.
With him.
But they have an easy schedule. But easy schedule also takes into effect all these NFC South teams that I think are capable of beating them. The Jets,
to be clear, the only teams they've lost to this year are the Lions, who are substantially better than them, the Jaguars, who are substantially better than them, the Titans, who are not great, and the Commanders, who are not great. But 2 losses to teams that are clearly better than them, and 4 wins over teams that I think that they're pretty close with. The Packers, the Buccaneers, who you have winning the division, and the Texans, who are all teams that I think are roughly in the same tier. And then you've got the Panthers, who they beat in week 1. But I think that this is a team that, with Desmond Ridder, him being 4-4, really 4-3 because he got hurt in this game. Who knows what would have happened? I think they probably would have lost anyway, but whatever. Call him 4-4. I think if he goes 8-9 or 9-8, that may be enough to win this division.
9-8 will be, I think.
I think there could be.
I
think Tampa can win 10. I think New Orleans is capable of winning 10. I don't think Ridder can win more than 8. But let's move to Kansas City, where this is super interesting because I have never talked down on Kansas City. I've always maintained Mahomes being the best quarterback in the league, and I still do. But I think this team has just gotten the most incredible string of luck. And I talked about collusion. I'm not going to put on the tinfoil hat again, but I think this team is potentially a bottom half team in the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs, they lost to the Denver Broncos.
They're
very, very convincingly.
Are you talking about a bottom half roster, like not?
No, I'm saying the way they play. I think they've played like a bottom half team this season. Let's go through their wins.
But okay, going through their wins does you no favors, because A, they have 6 of them.
Yeah,
and B,
I'm ready to go through all of them.
And B, this is not like good teams find ways to win games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good teams don't need the refs. Let's go through this.
We've talked about this already. I'm not going through the Kansas City Chiefs wins because they won 6 games. That's all there is to it.
That's not all there is to it, though.
It is really because
not.
No. Say these so-called referees are on the Kansas City Chiefs side and they always want them to win. Why would that change come playoff time? It won't. So they'll just go win Super Bowl. So it doesn't matter.
That is actually a scarily good argument. It's very cynical, but I just want to say that they're not I don't think they're a very good football team. Let's look at it. They beat the Bears convincingly. They lost to the Lions first off. They lost to the Lions. They beat the Jaguars in a very tightly contested game.
Jags are a good team, though.
Jaguars
that is a good win. That is good.
Those Jaguars, right?
Yeah, that is a good win. And they also beat the absolute crap of the Bears, as they should. They should have lost to the Jets. The Zach Wilson-led Jets that put 13 points on the Giants and almost lost to a team with negative passing yards.
Week to week.
But crazy enough that they still won that game, right?
Do we want to talk about the incredibly interesting refereeing in that game?
I don't think that game was bad. I don't think that game was bad.
You don't think the Chiefs played bad?
That game was ref?
No. In terms of the Chiefs did not play their best game. Zach Wilson out quarterback Patrick Mahomes. The call on the last play, the hold, was a hold. The referee threw the flag late, but it was a hold.
Every play is a hold. Every play, there's a hold somewhere on the field.
So you want them to throw a flag on every single play?
No, I don't. But I'm saying that the ref threw it late because he saw it was an interception. If there's no interception, there's no flag.
It was thrown. The flag was thrown after the interception. I'm more upset about the egregious on the 3rd and 22 where there was an egregious hold on Jermaine Johnson when that was a bad call. And another one that isn't referenced.
Okay. There are offensive holdings on every play.
Yeah, but that was egregious. That was in front of the ref.
I'm not saying the Chiefs played a great game, but as far as the Chiefs refereeing mistakes goes, that's not a big one.
I think it was, but I'm actually going to take off the referee. I'm going to take the refereeing out of the viewpoint because you made a good argument. If the refs are on the Chiefs' side, they'll win everything because the refs are on the Chiefs' side. But I don't think they've played well since week 3 against the Bears. I don't think they've played a good game. I didn't think they played well against the Jets. They didn't play well against the Vikings. They played terribly against the Broncos on October 12th, badly against the Chargers, and then this game was just the implosion of it all. And maybe I'm being a little overzealous by saying bottom half. Maybe it's a little too soon.
You're definitely being overzealous.
Maybe I am. I'll admit that it might be a little bit over the line. But when does the question start to be asked, is this team real? Because nobody is talking about this.
Look, I've been saying, and I got attacked for this since week 1, that the Chiefs needed to add a receiver. And I think now it's just getting more and more painfully obvious. I know Rashee Rice is kind of showing some flashes and he's okay, but there's no one in this receiving room besides Kelsey that could be trusted. That Mahomes
Where does this offense rank in the league, right? Because they put nine.
It's in the teens,
but
in the teens. And where does the defense rank? Top 10?
2, actually. So in terms of scoring defense, 2 or 3. Yeah, I think.
They're top 10. They're 6 or 7 or something.
Are we talking about what are we talking about? I think scoring defense. Let me check.
I'm just saying defense. I'm not playing statistics.
Scoring defense. They're second in the NFL, but they've been a top 5.
I would say 6 or 7
defense. I mean, they've been great though.
No, I think the defense has been great, but this offense, which is touted to be Mahomes and Kelsey, the best offense in the league, put 9 points against the Broncos, who are considered to be the worst defense in the league. They lost to the Broncos. I mean, the offense didn't even put up that many yards. Javonte Williams had 85 yards on the ground. Russell Wilson only threw for 114 yards. But Mahomes wasn't good. Again, this is another. It's been now. He was good against the Chargers, but game against the Broncos before, game against the Vikings, he's had a few, in the Jets, a few games where he hasn't been good. I'm sure he figures it out. He's the best quarterback in football. But let's look at the games they have. They play Miami and Germany. I wouldn't say it's ridiculous to call that. I would say that's a Dolphins win. Eagles, that's a loss. Raiders, they should be able to manhandle. Packers, they should be fine. Bills, that could be a loss. Patriots in primetime should be fine. I mean, going through it game by game isn't really the right way to do it. I'm kind of just rambling now, but I don't think they're good.
No. It's totally fair. I mean, when we talked about who we thought the best team in the league was last week, I said it was the Chiefs, and I'm wrong. They're not the best team in the league, and that's, I think, become apparent. I think it was a totally, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was a totally valid take to say they were the best team in the league as of last week, because even though they weren't playing great football, they were 6-1. So it's kind of hard to say. But after this, I mean, just brutal loss to the Broncos, which is just, no matter what the score of the game is when you lose to the Broncos, it's brutal because it's
you lost the Broncos.
Something's wrong with the Chiefs right now. Who knows what it is? But I, at the same time, expect them to have it figured out by playoff time. I think this is a team that, as of right now, is not good. You're right. I do think they're still a top 10 probably team in the league. I don't think they should fall anywhere below 8 in the power rankings. But by playoff time, I mean, Patrick Mahomes has already proven to be one of the most clutch quarterbacks in NFL history. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in NFL history. I think they will have it figured out. So I'm not, going to worry for the Chiefs.
I think it's reasonable
understand
to
they
say,
haven't played. Good.
I think it's reasonable to say that they're not a top 5 team in the AFC, though. And I think they could definitely fall in. I don't think they'll get a bye. I think they could fall in the wild card week because the Dolphins are better than them. The Bills are better than them. The Ravens are better than them. I would venture to say that the Bengals will be better than them in due time.
It will be, but they're not.
The Jaguars are better than them.
I would put the Chiefs at 5.
Okay.
I think this is going a bit overboard because I think this speaks to kind of how, and obviously it makes sense to defending Super Bowl champions, but also speaks to, I think, how high the standards are for the Kansas City Chiefs because they're still a team that right now is playing top 10 has a top 10 defense, and their offense is probably borderline top 10, even with how bad of a season they've been having offensively. They're still probably, I'd say, a top 10. They're still playing fringe top 10 offensive play. So I think obviously the standards are just really, really high for Kansas City. And I understand that obviously this is a really bad loss, but I know this is really cliche and I've already said it multiple times, but it's the NFL. These games at the end of the day, they're going to happen. I think they're going to rebound next week against Miami. I'm not going to venture across to see all those games, but I just think that defense, which is something Patrick Mahomes has never really had, is a defense that I think is going to keep him in a lot of games. And when the offense, which I agree, I think it's going to start to click more and more and more, even if they don't make a move. And I agree that I think that'll eventually haunt them come playoff time. They'll still be able to win a bunch of games in the regular season. I think Kelce is he's Kelce, and Mahomes is, even after kind of having.
But is that too shallow of an argument to make though? Kelce is Kelce, Mahomes is Mahomes. I mean, when is that going to just get thrown out the window?
Tom Brady is Tom Brady.
I don't know. I think it's to a certain extent it is, where I think that right now won't make them a top 5 offense in the NFL, at least at this moment, but it's still good enough to say they're just those two guys alone make it a top 10 offense. And with the way their defense is playing, I think they'll be able to beat Miami with that, especially if Mahomes has.
That brings up a multitude of issues with me, none of which we will be getting into because.
Oh, no. Let's get into it.
We've got a lot of segments back. We don't need this.
Okay. Just you can't. Okay, but you can't say that and then
I'm the host. I'm fully capable of saying that.
Just bring it. Come on.
I think the Dolphins are going to kill them. I mean, the Dolphins they're the best offense in the league.
Say what you said earlier. Say what you said earlier. Say what you said earlier. You said they're going to beat them.
I think the Dolphins can beat them by 20. Yeah. But that's true. I don't understand why that's crazy.
They can, but they won't. The Dolphins are a team that haven't beaten a winning team in over a year. I mean, so how can you say they're going to kill the
Let's look at the Chiefs have one win over a winning team this year.
Okay, but the Jets are in the last year.
But they're also the defending Super Bowl champions. So it's not like
I get that there's less to prove, but I don't think the Chiefs have had I think maybe 1 or 2 good wins this year. Like it's not like they've been good all year. It's week 9 now. There's enough of a standing point where you could say this team isn't that good anymore. And maybe they will figure it out because Mahomes and Kelce are undeniable.
I mean, again, we're talking about this team. We're talking about this team like they aren't still 6-2, and they're playing good complementary football.
I really don't think they're playing well at all.
I don't think they're playing. I mean, the Dolphins. I
didn't want to play this card.
They aren't playing to their standards, but
I didn't want to play this card because I don't think it's entirely relevant. But now that we're bringing up this Dolphins game, it is. The Dolphins scored 70 points on the Broncos. The Kansas City Chiefs scored 9. 3 of which were heavily aided by referees, but and I don't understand how you can say that the Chiefs are going to win. I think it's actually a blasphemous take to say that Chiefs are going to win this game because
really, wow,
yeah, I really do.
Again, I would agree with you, Dylan. I 100% would. The only thing is, there's never in NFL history been a game where picking the reigning Super Bowl champions is a blasphemous take.
Yeah.
But when are we going to leave the past in the past? The Chiefs team last year is considerably better than the Chiefs team this year.
8 months ago. It wasn't 3 years ago.
How do we know that yet, Dylan? I mean, this team is still, again, 6-2.
You're putting the record out there as if they've played 6 good games. They really haven't.
Okay, but the NFL isn't about playing your best every week. It's about finding a way to win every week. The best teams find a way to win. The defending champions have found a way to win. And I'm saying, and I understand they've had.
Let's look at the
firsthand experience. They've had aid from referees.
Let's look at the Week 8 champions over the last few seasons. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Week 11 champions, they fell in the wild card round. The Cardinals, Week 10.
Okay, no one is calling them champions. Like, but you guys are saying the opposite. You guys aren't calling them champions. You guys are saying they're completely that. I mean, not you guys. I think mainly Dylan. You're saying they're a bottom half team.
All right, that was overzealous. I said that was overzealous. I think they're top 11, 12, maybe. I wouldn't say top 10.
No,
I wouldn't.
That's just wild. Like,
I just don't think they haven't played good football in 4 weeks now. 5 weeks.
This was okay. Going back to the Dolphins. All I heard is this kind of, a lot of it reminds me of the Eagles game, where the Eagles game, the narrative was the Eagles just lost to the Jets. They haven't played a true, complete game of football this year. That Miami are a better team, and then
you're a Jets fan. You're a Jets fan. You know better than comparing the Jets and the Broncos.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not comparing the Jets and the Broncos. I'm just saying they came off a loss to the Jets, and they hadn't played. They're nearly close to their best football. And then they go to play.
There's 4 differences in this. The Jets are considerably better than the Broncos.
Obviously,
the Eagles played considerably better than the Chiefs did.
Really? Did they? No.
Yes.
I think even a few weeks. The Eagles.
The Chiefs. I think the Chiefs
play good.
The Chiefs were the worst team last week in the NFL. There was
the Giants and the Jets were both worse.
No,
the Giants. Honestly, they probably were.
Yeah, probably. Fair enough. The game was at Lincoln Financial. This game is in Germany. It's going to be a neutral crowd.
Hey, man, the German fans are rowdy. You blame the fans every time the Dolphins lose.
They might be rowdy, but they have no rooting interest.
Or they root for the Chiefs because they're the Chiefs and they're Patrick Mahomes. And Taylor Swift.
Mahomes influence.
Who do the Dolphins have?
I mean, dude.
Some Hawaiian dude?
Tongo Tvailoa. But
don't say that ever again.
They probably don't know who he is.
And they can't even pronounce his name.
The fourth thing is the Dolphins now have an all-pro cornerback on their side.
That's a really big addition.
But I agree.
No one to guard
at the same time,
I
think the thing is that, I don't think he's going to shadow Kelsey. I think I don't know if you have any.
He's a right-sided cornerback. He's not going to move.
Exactly. Who's going to guard Kelsey?
Oh yeah, I forgot that taking away the entire side of a field is just not important.
No, it's not when you're playing the Chiefs.
It is.
Honestly, the Chiefs are. I mean, the Chiefs are a team that more kind of rely on the middle of the field. Considering, a big part of their game is the tight end. So I still think, obviously, it's Jalen Ramsey, so that's a huge addition no matter what. But I still think it won't affect Kansas City in the way.
This is why I didn't want to get in. I didn't want to get into this for a reason, but.
Dylan, I'm just actually curious. How much man defense versus zone defense do the Dolphins play? Like, this is a genuine question.
It's pretty split. I would say probably more zone, but
I think every team plays more. Every team plays more zone.
Not the Giants
at this point. Oh yeah, the Giants. Because
but I think that
psychopath.
An amazing psychopath, so whatever. I think that Jalen Ramsey doesn't matter for this game. It's always great to have Jalen Ramsey on your team because he's Jalen Ramsey. He's one of the best corners in the NFL. But I don't think that for playing against the Chiefs, there's a big difference between having Jalen Ramsey and whoever your next best corner would be, just because there's no real receiving threat for the Chiefs that's going to really threaten their corners.
Well, there was a real reason I didn't want to get into this game because that added another maybe 15 minutes onto the show. But I love talking ball, so it is what it is. Let's move into Will Levis. I'm just gonna say the name. What comes to mind?
4 touchdowns.
Great game, and it's not like those were like Fugazi touchdowns where it was just like a couple of them were like very easy, like wide open. A bunch of the couple of those were off his back foot. Deep throws, flick of the wrist. We all knew coming out of college his arm was pretty strong, but damn, those were like elite level throws.
To be totally fair, that first touchdown should not have stood. DeAndre Hopkins absolutely mauled AJ Terrell on that touchdown, Like he grabbed his neck and threw him out of bounds, and they didn't call anything. But also, I realized I lied. The first thing that came to my head when you said Will Levis was not 4 touchdowns, it was mayonnaise in coffee. And that's just always going to be the first thing that comes to my mind. But
it's the same with me, if I'm being honest.
Unbelievable game. He played great. One of the best debut performances we've ever seen from a quarterback.
Okay, so I don't drink coffee. I don't put mayonnaise on really anything. I want to just like gauge the opinions here, and anyone who's watching, please comment.
It's not valid.
No, is there any? I know it's not valid. Everyone knows it's not valid. But is there any logic whatsoever? Is it equivalent to putting like ketchup in coffee? Like, is it like the same thing?
Oh, please don't be. Oh, God.
Who puts ketchup in coffee?
That's what I'm saying.
Who puts mayo in coffee?
It's like the same thing.
That's true.
Oh my God, Devontae Adams is so good. Sorry. No, that's just gross, and I feel like that's a problem that is going to be clouding everyone's vision of Will Levis. Is it safe to say he's their starter for the rest of the season?
I think so. I mean,
is it safe to say that Tannehill's going to Minnesota?
I think no, Tannehill's not going to move. I think Tannehill might retire after the season. He's that bad.
So I just mean for now. I mean right now.
Minnesota's not making a trade. They're going to stick through Jaron Hall.
Yeah,
and tank.
It's too difficult.
Jaron Hall.
They're going to tank.
It's too difficult to trade for a quarterback like mid-season and have them pick up the playbook and like
maybe they'll pick up Wentz or Cam Newton or something.
Oh God, that's the true definition of tanking.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'd
be sick.
They're going to fully embrace it. But I mean, DeAndre Hopkins revival game might be the more telling story of this game. I thought Will Levis was phenomenal. His throw to Nick Westbrook-Akeen was maybe the best throw of the week, other than an unnamed
that was the fourth touchdown, right?
Other than unnamed Miami Dolphins quarterback throw to Tyreek Hill today, but
that was not that good.
No,
I think you're missing Tommy DeVito's completion to Saquon Barkley.
Facts.
What was it? 1 yard?
-1 yards.
You're forgetting the Zach Wilson rolling to his right, throw across his body, last play of regulation.
I don't count that game, but
shut up.
Will Levis was phenomenal. He's going to be the starting quarterback. Does this make Tennessee anything, or is it just like kind of a blur in the wind? They're going to win 6 games and go into the next season with high hopes.
I think this absolutely makes Tennessee something. I think I agree. This makes them a lot scarier. I think when Tennessee was good a few years ago, it was because they had 2 options. That was the run and the play action, because Tannehill was arguably the best play action quarterback in the NFL. He's not anymore, but they added a second element, and that's the deep ball. They can run the ball, or they can put it in Will Levis's hands, and Levis could make a lot of throws. Will Levis has a big arm, a fairly accurate deep arm, as we saw this week, and just never, ever forget that Derrick Henry is on this football team, and Derrick Henry by himself will win a few games every year. So Derrick Henry by himself has won a few games every year.
He's good still.
He's taken a clear drop off, I think, in the last couple seasons. But he's still.
But I think now
you're not going to start putting 6 secondary players out there and expect.
But I think more of the thing is that I think Vrabel is a coach that is always someone who's able to find ways to win. A and B, they have a pretty good defense. I think that's going to keep them a bunch of games. If Will Levis can play like that, not even every week, but if he can just play like that, just
every other week,
every other week, then they're going to be a pretty dangerous team, and I wouldn't want to face them anytime.
I would be okay with facing them.
It's so interesting though, because
they're definitely a contender for the wild card if Will Levis can keep that up, though.
It's so interesting though, because usually when you talk about a quarterback's growing pains, you're thinking about the limit of the playbook, not letting him really toss the ball downfield that much, making him learn his progression.
Tommy DeVito.
This game showed that Will Levis is kind of the opposite. They're going to have him launch the ball, and when they want short yardage, they're going to give the ball to Derrick Henry. And I just find the backwards thinking on that to be super interesting. And I don't know if NFL teams are going to be able to catch up to that, because
I think
quarterback
going back to the point where you talked about how when Tennessee was good, their main thing was that Tannehill was one of the best play action quarterbacks in the league. That's actually I think that's a great fit for Will Levis's skill set. Someone who I think can just kind of play action. He's got a killer arm. He can like throw it to any spot on the field. Again, maybe mid-level accuracy concerns, but again, he's a rookie. That'll happen, but not today. At least it didn't show up. I think we saw again a couple of his touchdowns were on those plays where he's play action, kind of throwing it a little bit off his back foot, but he's got that arm talent to just again make those incredible throws like he was able to make to Hopkins and to Westbrook Akeen. That I think we could see kind of again, like I said, Derrick Henry is definitely taking a step back, but he's still a pretty big part of the Tennessee's identity on offense. So I think we could see something kind of similar, a bit of a diet version of what we saw with Tennessee a few years ago with Prime Henry, with AJ Brown still being there. So I think, and maybe possibly, if everything goes well, maybe even a better option at quarterback than Tannehill was a few years ago. But yeah, definitely interesting situation in Tennessee.
Okay, so I have on the topic list San Francisco implodes, and that's the truth.
Yes.
But I want to talk about Brock Purdy specifically because the topic's come up more than a few times, and I want the air to kind of be cleared on Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. He's playing right now in a rough stretch. He is a good quarterback. He's shown over time that he is a good quarterback. He's having a bad run of games. Sarah, did you see that?
To be clear, they've lost 3 games without their top receiver. So it's like,
and
for
Trent
me,
Williams was out.
Like, okay, I know they've lost 3 in a row, and that's really bad for any team. But look at, like, Brock Purdy, these were his first 3 losses of his career.
Yep.
I don't think there's really a debate in my mind that he is still, for me, considered a good quarterback in the NFL. I think it's just impossible to go against that right now.
Was the gun jumped on the top 10 debates? Because
3
weeks ago we were saying top 10.
I was never on the top 10 train, even when he was having.
So I was.
I'm not someone who I'm not a hater on Brock Purdy. I think when you were talking about Derek Carr being the definition of mid, I would say that's probably Brock Purdy, maybe a little bit below.
I think Brock Purdy is a good quarterback, not a mid quarterback.
Yeah.
No. I think even when we saw just a few of his super weapons go out, no Debo, no Trent Williams, I think we saw.
Oh no! Take away a quarterback's best friend, and he loses games. What are the odds?
But he still has Kittle, he still has McCaffrey, he still has Ayuk, he still has Kyle Shanahan as play caller. I mean.
Do we need to remind you what he did to a top 10 defense in the Steelers? Top Cowboys. 1 defense, arguably, in the Cowboys. Like, he's played very, very good football, and he was bad against the Browns. He played
good football, but again, I think a lot of that is because of all the weapons and the play calling of San Francisco. I think I'm not going as far as some people to say, oh, he was always a terrible quarterback and it's just being masked by San Francisco. I still think he's like
how shocking.
Which like you could do a lot.
A team's quarterback plays to the team's strengths, therefore team quarterback bad.
No
way. Like it's just like it's such a tired argument. And if you want to say he's bad based on these 3 games, go ahead, because these 3 games he has been bad. But when you go to say that the success he had is masked by San Francisco, I mean, obviously a quarterback's going to be better.
I think for someone who
made San Francisco really, really good.
I think for someone who's Mr. Irrelevant, I think he's surpassed.
But it's not for the Mr. Irrelevant
Mr.
title.
Irrelevant, he's a starting quarterback in the NFL, and he's a good one.
No. If he wasn't the Mr. Irrelevant, this discourse isn't even happening right now.
What do you mean by that?
If he was picked in the first round, second round, even third round, this discourse is Brock Purdy's in a slump, not Brock Purdy sucks and San Francisco needs to start someone else.
I'm not saying Brock Purdy sucks. I'm just saying
I know you're not.
Thought he's mid.
The conversation when Brock Purdy was having his great stretch of games by most NFL fans was, wow, San Francisco is really, really good. But
Brock Purdy's doing all right for a Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, or that was also what it was. Brock Purdy's doing all right for a Mr. Irrelevant. Brock Purdy was playing like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL with the situation around him, sure. But statistically, he was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL for practically a full season. And to kind of dismiss that and say, oh, yeah, San Francisco's a really good team. If he doesn't have things, it won't work out. I think that's disingenuous. I think he's been really, really good.
I think he deserves a certain level of credit, but at the same time,
not enough
I know
to
obviously
say
people
good.
Honestly, I mean, I think
what credit does he deserve?
I think he deserves credit for being an average quarterback when he was.
I don't think Jimmy G deserves any credit. He's terrible.
No,
Brock Purdy's a good quarterback.
What does Jimmy G have to do with this?
Jimmy G was playing in San Francisco.
I think Brock Purdy was put in a situation when Jimmy G went down for the season where it was like,
I'm about to break your brain right now. I'm about to break both of your brains right now. Listen. I think that Brock Purdy is better in San Francisco's offense than Josh Allen would be. Done. I think he is absolutely the perfect fit for this team, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, is he more talented? No, but he is a better fit, and he's getting things done the right way for them.
So I see where you're going with that one, and it's a totally like it's a very understandable thing to come out of your mouth because like everyone thinks that way, right? But Josh Allen will be 8-0 with this team.
No.
Actually, probably not because he's Josh Allen and he's the most inconsistent quarterback in the NFL. But like, there's no Brock Purdy is not same team around them, same scheme around them. I'm still taking Josh Allen.
No, because Josh Allen wouldn't work in this scheme.
Okay, but you're telling me that if you're
telling me that Josh Allen
and the
wouldn't
Buffalo
work
Bills,
in any offense.
You're telling me.
I truly don't think he would.
Dylan, you're telling me that if you are the 49ers GM and the Buffalo Bills come up to you and offer you Josh Allen for Brock Purdy, you're saying no?
When you phrase it like that, it sounds a little bit ridiculous. I won't lie.
I understand why you say it. It's just not quite right.
I think that San Francisco would take it. And I think if I was a GM, I'd be too tempted and I'd try to make it work. But I think Brock Purdy just is the perfect fit. I mean, he is the perfect fit for this team. He doesn't play games for himself. He wants to win with the team, playing the game the way Shanahan is masterminding it for him. And that's not a bad thing.
Here's what I will say about that, because I think we've gone through a similar discourse with other quarterbacks like Tua. Dylan, I know you have a type. Your type is system quarterbacks, like quarterbacks that just completely are kind of like
system quarterbacks.
No, let me talk. Let me talk.
System.
Wait. No. Let me talk.
Let him cook, boy.
I'll let you talk. Okay. I'm about to grill you, but I'll let you talk.
You are someone who likes the quarterback to almost be the puppet, I feel like. Where I think, at least with Brock Purdy, I think Tua, it's a little bit, it's not as egregious, but I think with Brock Purdy, he is someone where the puppet master is Kyle Shanahan, and it's Kyle Shanahan finding ways to get all these guys involved in the offense, guys like Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, McCaffrey, all of whom are elite weapons, which I think is inarguable. And I understand, again, like I say, he does deserve credit for being a mid quarterback. And I think the problem is any
look how just like casually disrespectful you are in that. It's
like he didn't lose a game all of last year.
I know it sounds disrespectful, but like I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I think it's genuinely an accomplishment that he's been fine.
So would you take Zach Wilson over Brock Purdy?
No, because Zach Wilson's been a below average quarterback. I'm saying Brock Purdy is a mid quarterback. Average. He is a very average quarterback. I'd say maybe slightly below average, but he's just like, I just don't.
Brock Purdy or Dak Prescott?
Dak Prescott, easy. Every day of the week, I take Dak Prescott.
That's awful.
I guarantee more. I mean, okay, no, maybe not, just because Cowboys.
Because Brock Purdy is good.
No, because
Dak Prescott Cowboys, is not.
Because everyone.
What is the stigma? But what is your stigma? I'm not going to say there is a stigma because I think a lot of people do agree with me. What is your stigma against system quarterbacks? Because in my opinion,
if the coach
does it right, every quarterback is a system quarterback.
Yeah.
My problem with like at least extreme system quarterbacks is that once you throw them off their game, once they're forced to play kind of in suboptimal conditions, they play a lot worse. I think system quarterbacks give a very high floor and they can win a bunch of games when it's right. And you know what? I actually will give you a bit of credit. Maybe I do for some slightly see your point about the Brock Purdy Josh Allen comparison, where he's going to be someone who will give them a high floor. He's not going to turn when the system's right. He's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to kind of play how Shanahan wants him to play. And I think that way I see your point. It's still wrong, but I see your point at least.
Let's talk about the first.
No. Let me.
Okay,
wait.
You know what? My bad.
But
I don't want to be
what we've seen these last 3 games is where we've seen San Francisco kind of not have the ideal situation. We've seen a couple. I know every quarterback will get worse without a few of their best players not playing. But you're telling me that a good quarterback can't make an offense of Ayuk, Kittle, McCaffrey. Those are 3 great weapons, and you can't make that work. And you're going on a 3-game losing streak.
I mean, how much better do you want them to be? Like, McCaffrey's an MVP candidate right now.
Mm-hmm.
Kittle's playing some of the best football right now of his career in the last few games.
You're helping Serge's argument right now.
Mm-hmm.
No, but how am I helping his argument? I'm saying Purdy is making them play phenomenally. No, I'm saying Purdy's been playing phenomenally and helping them work out.
So then why aren't they winning games?
But then why aren't they winning exactly? You've literally just shifted Charlie to my side.
You just no. I'm not on your side here. I'm just saying that's exactly what you just handed him.
No, I'm saying Brock Purdy played a few bad games. It's not indicative of him being bad. I'm saying
no, it's not.
It's been a rough stretch.
That's what I'm saying. I never said he's bad.
But you're saying mid as if it's bad.
No, I'm saying mid as if it's mid because you guys were saying mid, top 10. I'm saying.
You're saying mid
I would say
he's a 16th best quarterback in the NFL?
I'd say 15 through 18. I'd have to go over every single quarterback, and I don't want to do that. Yeah, but I'd say
I love this system quarterback discussion because I'm going to bring up a few names. Trevor Lawrence, clearly not a system quarterback, right? But if you give him the perfect system, he turns into one.
How about Tom Brady?
Tom Brady.
Okay.
You could say
we're not comparing Brock Purdy to Tom Brady.
Eli Manning.
You could say anyone is a system quarterback when you put the
system. But you obviously everyone works within a system to a certain extent. But there are quarterbacks that specifically are will do not exactly 100% of the time what the system says, but their kind of thing is that they always do you know that would happen? Structure.
How do you know that is the case when it's the only thing you've seen with him in the Shanahan system?
No, you know it's really, really funny that I just realized.
What?
You were just having this argument earlier, but about Erling Haaland and Lionel Messi.
Huh.
And you were on the exact same side?
Yep. Exactly.
This isn't a soccer podcast, so we won't get into it. But it's just, when the system is right, how can you take something away from the player who's making that system work?
No, but the point
is considerably worse with Jimmy G, with Trey Lance, with any quarterback.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Most
Brock
successful
Purdy
quarterback that San Francisco has.
I agree. No, I agree. Brock Purdy is a much better quarterback than Trey Lance and Jimmy G. But what I'm saying, I'm just saying that I think he has way too low of a ceiling to be considered anything better than mid for me.
Is what he did last season low of a low ceiling? Because I thought that was pretty damn good.
What was he, 8-0?
Well, yeah, again, because he was but again, I think that was him playing completely within the system, and the Niners were completely. They were by every team that they beat.
I'm sorry, I forgot that in order to be a really good quarterback, you have to run around, do stupid stuff, and throw an interception.
That's not what I mean.
Oh no, he was playing within. He was playing the system perfectly. He was doing his job perfectly.
I'm sorry, but I
doing
think
someone else's job perfectly. What do you want him to do?
I'm not. No, I'm saying. I'm not criticizing him. Obviously, why would I criticize him for that? No, I'm saying that he was. I'm saying what the common narrative is, and agreeing with it because there's a lot of truth to it, is that he looked significantly better because his weapons were among the best in the NFL, among having a top 5 coach.
But
of course he looked better when his weapons were healthy.
Like, how do you know that he's gonna be bad if he steps into a new situation? He hasn't.
You saw the past 3 games where he was in a new situation.
It's not a new. He's lost Deebo Samuel before. He's lost Deebo Samuel before. He's lost.
Deebo was hurt most of last year.
Yeah.
Yes, but he didn't. But he lost. But okay. But this time he's lost multiple weapons. But he still has.
I'm so sorry that your quarterback who lost multiple weapons isn't performing up to standard.
But he still has a solid team. He still has a solid team, and he struggled.
My brain hurts, bro.
And I'm not. But I'm not saying. But again, you're acting like I'm saying that. You're acting like I'm saying the NFL's figured him out and he should be a backup quarterback. I'm saying he's mid. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm saying he's an average quarterback because when not given his elite supporting cast,
let's connect this to Tom Brady.
No.
Let's connect.
Why are we connecting this to Tom
Let's connect this to Tom Brady because I feel like the discourse is
Tom Brady,
similar.
as much as I hate Tom Brady, has consistently dragged New England to 12 win, not dragged, but consistently took New England to 12-win seasons when his main receivers at times were Danny Amendola, Chris Hogan. Like, no.
When Tom Brady emerged onto the scene, he was playing with Deion Branch. He was playing with a lot of the best defense in the league. He was playing with the best coach in the league.
Deion Branch, that's one weapon. That's one guy.
But he was one of the best receivers in the league. I wasn't born, so I really couldn't tell.
Deion Branch was a good receiver, best in the league.
Isn't that crazy that we weren't born when Tom Brady started playing football?
But the point I'm trying to make, though, is you'll never know how good Tom Brady would be in a bad system because he never was in a bad system.
He was okay. Well, he wasn't in a system as good as, at least offensively. On offense, he never.
Yeah, Bill Belichick is just some bum offensively, right?
I'm sorry. I forgot Bill Belichick was an offensive coordinator. My bad.
But that's like what I forgot. Kyle Shanahan is the only coach we've named all day.
Like
what? Wait, what are you talking? I'm saying that Tom Brady did not have the weapons that Brock Purdy had. Is that
did Tom Brady go 8-0 his rookie year? Like, not saying that Brock Purdy
won a Super Bowl.
I'm not saying Brock Purdy is as good as Tom Brady.
Oh my god! What
Brock Purdy last year had the best rookie season in the games he played of any quarterback ever because he never lost.
No. Okay. So are wins just the only quarterback stat now?
I mean, the most important
if you
one.
go 17-0 and then go win a Super Bowl, then like,
did they win a Super Bowl?
No,
he got hurt, but I think they could have won.
Injured.
The Eagles would have beat them regardless.
I don't know.
I mean, I guess
nobody could beat them last year.
Again, I think I'm just it's getting tired because we're just arguing in circles. We're just
I just want to hear. I'll take it to the end because you are right. We are going in circles, but I want to just hear what is the stigma against a system quarterback? What is the problem with it?
I already told you. I think when you kind of make this, when you kind of put them in suboptimal conditions, when the system is not ideal, I think they definitely get a lot worse. I think that's the main problem. They can be really. I think they're really
quarterback.
Yeah, it's not because just
I think when you put
quarterback.
No, but when you put like quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow,
we just said that the Chiefs sucked this year. To be clear,
Patrick Mahomes' conditions in Denver were suboptimal.
Okay, yes, but Patrick Mahomes. Okay, that was one game.
I can pull up so many conditions for so many quarterbacks. Like every quarterback has bad games.
Shoot, Josh Allen went to the Giants and almost lost. Lost to the Jets. Like, of course, for any quarterback in NFL history, if the conditions are worse than what they're used to, they're going to perform worse than what they're used to.
And just making it clear, I'm not saying Brock Purdy is the best quarterback in the league. Brock Purdy is not. He is a top 10, maybe. That might even be pushing it. He's an above average quarterback in the league. The best quarterbacks in the leagues are the ones that can make the suboptimal conditions into what turns into a win. I would say like only even though I brought up Mahomes, obviously only Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or Tua or Josh Allen or Burrow, and not even really.
Okay.
It's just like a guy like
right.
Trevor Lawrence isn't going to make the suboptimal conditions into a win.
I think Trevor Lawrence is better than you give him credit for. But we should move on
because this has been so
no. But I know Brock
Purdy is clearly
no because I'm making no. I've made my point. Like,
what's he 13-3 in his career?
So all of us agree that Brock Purdy is top 15.
Wins are the most important stat.
No,
they are.
No.
There's so much out.
There's so much stuff out of the control of a quarterback that it's impossible to make wins the most important stat. So when
you don't win games, you move on from your quarterback.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, usually yes, but like also
name me one case that's different.
Okay, well, Deshaun Watson on the Texans.
They moved on from him.
Deshaun Watson is not
okay, but that's not
when
the
they won
why.
4 games. Deshaun Watson was not the quarterback the next year.
Okay, but you know the reason why is definitely different.
They also made the playoffs with Deshaun.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, they made the playoffs with Deshaun. And won a playoff game with Deshaun.
The last year when he was a Texan.
I want to hear you talk about a quarterback that over the course of the last couple of years, a quarterback that you think is good, that played in a terrible system, didn't win games, and stayed.
That played, I would say, I wouldn't say Lamar was in a terrible system.
They also won games.
They won games.
They won.
A quarterback that didn't win games and stayed.
A quarterback that didn't win games?
Didn't win games and stayed.
Trevor, his first,
his rookie year doesn't count.
Okay. Rookies
don't count.
I would say Dak. I'd say Dak.
They win games.
Made the playoffs.
Not every year. Not every year.
Most
they've had a few years where
they win games.
They're a perennial playoff team.
But they didn't make it this year.
Team.
They
did make it this year. They lost to the Niners in the divisional round.
Okay, honestly, okay.
They win games.
Maybe
no quarterback wins games and then leaves. Just like no quarterback doesn't win games and then stays.
You can't find one case because it's just an abnormality.
I told you Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun
made the playoffs.
First off, yeah.
No.
Deshaun Watson made the playoffs, right?
Then they had a bad year. Then he left.
No, but he left because obviously
he wanted to leave. He was going to leave even if the whole thing didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. No, but that 4-12 season wasn't on him.
No,
also, Justin Herbert, another example.
Justin Herbert's that team's won 8-9 games a season.
Not every year. They were literally
rookie year. They were
last
6-11.
That was the first year he made the playoffs last year. It was
but they won 9 games. They won 10 games the year before actually, and then the year before that they were bad because it was his rookie year.
Well, he still was actually one of the better quarterbacks in the league even in his rookie year.
I'm not saying Justin Herbert's bad.
No, but what I'm saying is you're acting like just because a quarterback has a bad record means it's indicative of his performance.
In a way,
for the most part, it is.
Well, it is to a certain extent. That was wrong, but I don't think it's the main stat.
I think
I would say right now
indicator. It's the only indicator that NFL teams take into account.
So Charlie, you've been commonly saying that Jalen Hurts is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the NFL, and
But I do think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, overrated but good.
Okay, but would you say he's the best quarterback in the NFL because he has the best record in the NFL?
No,
exactly. That's my point.
No. This is not a best team in the NFL means best quarterback in the NFL. Best team in the NFL does not have a bad quarterback.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. I don't think
best team in the NFL doesn't have a mid quarterback.
For
a team as good as the 49ers, you can't be mid at quarterback for the team.
The Niners, Jalen Hurts are 5-3 with them. The Niners are 5-3 with this quarterback.
Jalen Hurts is a top 7 quarterback. People argue he's top 3. That's why I think he's overrated. He's still really good.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Brock Purdy, if people are going to argue he's top 5, they're wrong. He's overrated. But he's not bottom 15.
No, he's not bottom 15. Well, no, well,
then he's top half.
17 or no, I was calculating bottom 15. No, he could be. I think he's, like I said, 15 to 18 range.
All right, well, this is truly ridiculous at this point. So,
yeah, we're just going in circles. I don't see really the.
Yeah, let's go to trivia.
Trivia time. Serge, you missed last week, but our current standings, in last place is Surge with 7 of 24. Second place, Kian, who's not here, with 10 of 30. And first place, Dylan, 11 of 30. So, Surge, you would need to get 5 more right than Dylan today to overtake him. For questions correct, but obviously you've had less questions. Our first question: which of these quarterbacks threw for the most passing yards this week? Could be a tough one considering these guys. You've got Jaron Hall.
Oh, no.
Tommy DeVito. Brett Ripien. And Tyrod Taylor. And I was considering putting Daniel Jones on this list too.
I'm going to say Tyrod Taylor.
I'm going to say Brett Ripien.
Brett Ripien's the correct answer with 42 passing yards. Jaron Hall with 23. Tyrod Taylor was, I believe, 5 completions for 8 yards.
Yeah.
And Tommy DeVito with -1. That's why I wanted to put Daniel Jones on there because he had more.
Wait, how many did Jaron Hall have?
23.
I just saw the pick.
So that one correct for Surge. He's making that comeback, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Which of these running backs, question 2, which of these running backs had the most PPR fantasy points this week? A, Saquon Barkley. B, Aaron Jones. C, Jamal Williams. D, Jonathan Taylor.
Wait, repeat the options. Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, Jonathan Taylor, who?
And Saquon.
I'm going to say Saquon.
Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams. Who is Saquon, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and who's the last one?
JT.
I'm going to go JT.
None of these players scored touchdowns, but it was Saquon Barkley with 15.8 fantasy points, all in the fourth quarter pretty much. Jonathan Taylor was second place with 10.7, but no touchdowns, no catches. Or I think maybe only 1 catch. That's going to hurt him. That's Dylan's correct answer. No comeback today. Question 3. How many teams scored 30-plus points this week, excluding Monday Night Football? You got 10 seconds.
I can't think.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Surge, I need an answer.
I'm going to say 8.
Dylan?
I'm going to say 4.
Correct answer was 7.
Dang.
We've got Chargers, Bengals, Ravens,
so close.
Eagles, Commanders, Saints, Cowboys, and Dolphins.
Eagles and Commanders, yeah. Okay.
Question 4. This is the first question like this I've done all year because it's the first one that only has to do with tight ends. Which of these tight ends had the most receiving yards this week? And I say that because these 4 guys had 9+ receptions each. You've got Trey McBride, Evan Ingram, Cole Kmet, or George Kittle. Most receiving yards.
Evan Ingram, Cole Kmet, George Kittle, and what was the last one?
Trey McBride.
It's Kittle. It's got to be Kittle.
Yeah, I'm going to go Kittle.
Kittle, just fun fact, only had 9 catches. The other 3 guys had 10. He still had the most yards of any of them by 54 yards. 149 yards for George Kittle this week.
Thank God I didn't overthink that. I was about to say Trey McBride.
Trey McBride was second. Trey McBride was second with 95 yards. Question 5, you guys are going to work together for this one. 4 quarterbacks. I expect you to get this. 4 quarterbacks threw for 4 passing touchdowns this week. Who were they?
Levis. Levis was 1.
Yeah. Levis was 1. Let's see.
Tua didn't throw for 4, did he?
No. I think Hurts did.
I think Tommy DeVito threw for 4 touchdowns.
Dak did, I think too.
Dak did. No.
Wait, no, because it was like, man, I had 1 special team touchdown.
Cooks had 1. CD had at least 1.
Ferguson had 1. I know Ferguson had 1. So
wait. Let's say Dak and Hurts. Let's take both of them.
Yeah, you want to lock those in?
Yep.
Both correct. You've got Hurts, Levis, and Prescott.
There's another one.
There's one more.
4.
Could it be?
Did Herbert have 4?
No. Ooh, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Oh, he's smirking. But no, he's just trying to throw us off.
He's playing games.
How?
Let's play Howell because I know they didn't have a rushing touchdown. So yeah, let's play Howell.
How?
Sam Howell also had 4 passing touchdowns this week.
Yes.
4 for 4. Both of you are going to get a point for that. Dylan's starting to turn up a little bit. He's nearing that 500 mark. He's not that close, but he's nearing it. Question 6, our final question of the week. Naming players with rushing touchdowns until somebody messes up. As always, you get one strike.
So much.
Serge, we'll start with you, I guess.
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito had a rushing touchdown this week.
Best I was going to say also, I'll say Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards led the league with, I think, 2 touchdowns this week. Or 3 touchdowns, this week.
Zach Moss.
Zach Moss had a rushing touchdown this week, sitting on my bench.
Sir. Raheem Mostert.
Raheem the Dream Mostert had a rushing touchdown this week.
We count Monday night?
Nope.
No.
Damn.
So don't say Jacobs or Gibbs.
Damn. Then I'll say shoot. Yeah. Cost me. Just watch the Jets game. That's bad.
I'm gonna need an answer, bud.
Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams. No touchdowns this week. That's a strike for Serge.
Damn.
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt, rushing touchdown.
I think I'm finished.
Serge, man, when in doubt, name
Mixon,
a D2 quarterback. Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon. Cam Akers.
Cam Akers.
Damn. You must be cheating.
I'm not.
It's really, you've only named like 3.
I know, it's just so hard because
you only had to watch 2 games to name 3 guys with a rushing touchdown.
Why can't the Jets and the Giants score more touchdowns? That's annoying. I'll say
name a D2 quarterback.
Tyson Bagent.
Tyson Bagent had a rushing touchdown this week.
Yes, sir.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, when in doubt, really, it's just name the best running back in the league.
Yeah, smart. DeAndre Swift.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Oof, you've got me there. I had that was the last one in my tank. Now I've got to think a little bit. Did Bijan Robinson had one?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah,
he did.
Think for a minute.
Well, I'm not gonna give you a minute. I'm only gonna give you 10 seconds.
Okay. Did
5, 4,
no.
3, 2, 1. I need a name.
Zach Charbonnet.
No, Zach Charbonnet did not have a touchdown this week. That's 2 strikes,
Yeah.
and you're out.
Damn.
Dylan, can you name any more?
I could try.
Give it your best.
Let's see. Damn.
Never mind. Don't give it your best. We're just gonna end it off there. We've got Taysom Hill had 2.
That's right.
Alvin Kamara, Royce Freeman, Josh Allen, Joshua Dobbs, Darrington Evans, CJ Stroud, Jake Bobo, and Andrew Beck all had rushing touchdowns.
I was getting maybe Taysom Hill.
I could have gone Bobo,
but you didn't, so you can't. And that's it.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. This was a fun episode. If you stuck through the entire thing, you are a trooper. You got to hear Serge be stupid for a couple of minutes. You got to hear Charlie be stupid for a couple of minutes. You got to hear bad takes for a couple of minutes. No, all of us were stupid for a couple of minutes, except for me. Except for me, I'm never wrong. But
especially Dylan.
It was a good episode nonetheless. We'll be back with you with whatever comes next, whether that be a soccer podcast, football podcast. I believe it'll probably be a football podcast because there's really nothing to talk about midweek for soccer. I'm Dylan Shalom here with Serge Kodali and Charlie Nidell, calling it quits for this week.
I have to stop the recording now.